What path might you take in your quest for total health?
Optimum health that encompasses mind, body, and spirit.
So join us now as we head to the frontiers of integrative health and well-being.
With Judy Brooks
Roy Walkenhorst
and Michelle Bernhardt, our Inner World Guide on Healing Quest. Thanks so much for joining us.
In today's show, Michelle has an inspiring inner world story about a young woman who's triumphed over trauma. And understanding how she did that could help all of us deal with bad things.
We also have an easy way to start your day in a new way that could bring really good things in your direction. Our nutrition segment brings us a delicious healing recipe for a powerful pea soup.
And our healing moment takes us into a mystical mountain landscape. So let's keep going. We have some great information to share with you today.
On our journey to better health, right here on Healing Quest.
Broadcast of this program made possible by
Prime, a daily dietary supplement designed to support cardiovascular health by boosting the production of nitric oxide. Prime from Kivana, formulated to support healthy circulation for every cell in the body. More information available at primeno.com.
Vital Choice Seafood, wild-caught seafood and whole food supplements rich in omega-3s. More information about our wild seafood and our sustainable practices is available at www.vitalchoice.com or at 800-608-4825.
The American Botanical Council provides science-based herbal information at herbalgram.org.
Be More, a monthly digital magazine designed to help you thrive. Every Be More issue is packed with information from nationally known health and wellness experts. Be More is available on request at bemoremagazine.com.
Healing wisdom sometimes comes from unexpected places, and that's certainly the case with our first story today. We're talking about the insights that are emerging from new ways of helping rape survivors heal. Our Inner World Guide, Michelle Bernhardt, has been investigating this, and Judy's with her now to find out what Michelle has learned.
Sexual assaults are increasingly being seen as a major problem, even though we don't know exactly how big a problem they are, because most rapes are never reported.
Well, we do know that in the U.S. military, an estimated 95,000 service members have been sexually assaulted since 2006. In fact, a woman serving in Iraq or Afghanistan was more likely to be raped by a fellow service member than killed in the line of fire.
And on college campuses, it's estimated that 20% of women will be the target of a rapist, and research shows that every 2 minutes an American woman or man is sexually assaulted. The trauma from these attacks can scar lives for years, even decades.
Well, the good news is that new approaches are helping sexual violence survivors recover and in some cases emerge even more resilient.
What's being learned in those new approaches could help all of us deal with the difficult times in our lives.
So we're going to walk in there and I'll just have you, I'll kind of hang back and you can get to know him in whatever way you want. And then we're going to put this halter on him.
Kate Weber's path to this equine therapy session has been long and painful, but ultimately transformational. It began when she joined the Army 20 years ago. She was looking forward to serving her country and becoming a nurse. Instead, she became a rape victim.
The way he flipped me around, kicked my legs apart, it was like a police officer who's trained to do that.
The attacker was Kate's immediate superior. Kate quickly reported the rape, but she was met by indifference at every turn, including at the base hospital.
And this was a grown adult male doctor who did nothing. I mean, I told him first that I was raped, and I gave him the opportunity to collect evidence. I gave him names, and then I came back a couple days later for the proof about the HIV test, and I just felt like I was just let down by every adult around me.
Kate left the Army 14 months after the rape and struggled for years with post-traumatic stress disorder and alcoholism as her weight soared from 125 pounds to 270. Then she was invited to participate in the Artemis Rising Invisible War Recovery Program. This program grew out of the acclaimed Invisible War documentary and was developed to help both men and women who'd been the victims of sexual assault in the military.
And so they come into this program and they're with their fellow, patriots, and they walk through what happened to them in a way where they're safe, where they're with very skilled, trained professionals and therapists in trauma. And then they work on different healing modalities. There's equine therapy. There's EMDR, which works with the pupils of the eyes. There's brain spotting that they do, acupuncture, acupressure, group therapy. I mean, we are not saying that we're reinventing the wheel. Some of these healing modalities have been around for centuries, but we're reframing it and we're reconstructing the program in a way that gives people a chance to try different healing modalities to see what works best for them.
It's a 2-week intensive program that runs several times a year at a retreat in Virginia.
Yeah, okay, so just feel that. Let yourself feel.
Rachel Irwin is the lead clinician at Artemis Rising Retreats and an expert on a healing eye movement technique known as EMDR. She also uses a technique called acutonics to help ground the people like Kate Weber with whom she's working.
What's really wonderful is we have time in the beginning. For the first few days, we do a lot of resourcing and stabilization and grounding work so that people are prepared to do the deeper trauma work. And then there's about a 5 or 6 day period where we really focus on the event that was their trauma.
Working through the trauma and actually really going back there, which I was dreading, but I'm so glad I did, because what I recognized was what I thought was that he completely conquered me and that I didn't do anything to protect myself and that I completely froze. And going back there, I remember now that I did fight. I fought really hard. And the reason that I fell was because I actually punched him and he pushed me. And then that was the end of the rape. This trauma program has helped me bring up the exact facts of what happened and feel comfortable with the fact that I did do so much to try to save myself and forgive myself.
Kate's progress is not unique. In fact, she and other participants in this program are part of a long-term study into what works best in treating trauma like this. Rachel says the process of healing trauma often results in life-changing transformations.
And it creates a willingness and a desire to help other people. There's not one survivor I know that when they've done their own healing doesn't want to go out and bring it to everybody else.
I've been working with Congresswoman Spear. I've been working with Senator Gillibrand. And what I try to do is let survivors know that they're not alone, and that, I give out my Twitter address and let them just contact me, because I just don't want them to feel alone anymore.
The creators of this program hope that what's learned here can help heal sexual trauma survivors all across the country. But they're already sure of one thing.
The only way that trauma can really perpetuate and thrive is if it stays in the dark. And if our culture keeps it in the dark and around silence, denial, shame, and blame. That's the only way that trauma can survive. Once those things are exposed and uncovered and we collaborate and we support each other and we talk about it, the light is brought in, we start breathing. Not to oversimplify it, but that is the beginning of a person and our culture to heal.
For sexual assault survivors like Kate Weber, that healing process can take years and involve many different techniques.
It buckles on the other side.
Equine therapy helps survivors like Kate deal with issues such as trust, safety, and security.
And just feel and breathe.
It does feel so good.
Kate says her recovery is not yet complete,
Does that feel good, buddy?
but she is now making steady progress.
So I'm finally living life now, and it feels really great.
Kate's a great example of someone who's using her trauma as a portal for transformation, a major theme for us this season.
Well, she's also a great example of the reality that for most of us recovering from trauma, It's not a do-it-yourself project.
No, getting help from others, talking about the trauma, getting out in the open is really important. And that's a topic you and I recently explored with two experts in this field.
I recently spent some time with Dr. James Doty, clinical professor of neurosurgery at Stanford University, and a world-renowned expert in how the brain works and how it heals.
Evolutionarily, we are designed as a species in which it is absolutely critical that there is social connection and a sense that others care about us if we are to thrive.
Dr. James Gordon wholeheartedly agrees. He's a professor at the Georgetown Medical School, author of Unstuck, which is about overcoming depression without pharmaceutical drugs, and an internationally known expert in treating trauma.
I was down in New Orleans just after Katrina, and I went to one of the still functioning emergency rooms, and I was talking with a guy who was in charge of the emergency room, big, strong surgeon type. He was barking out orders and taking care of business. And I said to him something like, what do you think? Do you think we're needed down here? You got a lot of people around, a lot of mental health professionals. And he looked at me and he started crying. He said, I'll start crying too. He said, I've been through the same thing as everybody else here. He said, my house was destroyed. We're living with other people right now. I'm totally overwhelmed at home. I'm totally overwhelmed on the job. All of us need other people to come here who are not so overwhelmed to help us through this situation.
So whether you opt for group therapy or one-on-one sessions or any of the other treatment options we've discussed, the lesson here is that reaching out for help can really be important.
And another thing, even watching these stories can often activate an unresolved trauma. So if you find that you're feeling emotional, or sad, angry, or uncomfortable in any way, something may be coming up for you. Because often when we go through a traumatic experience, even a long time ago, we lose important parts of ourselves. In fact, it's those parts that have been pushed down or lost that are making the noise. The positive part of going through this process is that we get to reclaim those parts. Even though what we're going through may be horrible or overwhelming, in the end, we become whole.
And the good news is that when it comes to trauma, help is available in all kinds of ways. And we have resources for you on the Healing Quest website.
Also, later in our show, Dr. Doty will be back with some thoughts on a simple way to start our day in a way that could change our lives.
Thanks, Michelle. Coming up next, our Fresh Living chef, Sarah Snow, will show us how to make a pea soup that not only tastes great, but also helps us feel better if we need a little detox.
Pea soup, I've always liked it, but I would never have put it in the same sentence with the word potent. I may have been wrong about that.
Well, it turns out that the right kind of pea soup can be really potent when it comes to boosting our health. Our Fresh Living chef, Sarah Snow, is going to show us how to make that happen, and she's going to do it quickly, too.
So this is going to be a recipe that I promised to show you in under 5 minutes. This is a spicy pea soup. To start off with, I have about 2 cloves of garlic already sauteing in some olive oil, and I'm going to add to that 1 small leek, which I've already chopped. Now, this is the best way to clean leeks. Don't try to get all that dirt out by putting it under the faucet. The best way is to chop a leek, put it in a little bit of water, and let the water do the trick. All the dirt will drop to the bottom. Then you just simply fish the chopped leek off of the top. Okay, that's going in my pot, and that is going to saute for just a couple minutes. This is a recipe that I make a lot when I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, and you can tell by my voice I am a little under the weather right now. It's a good detox recipe for a couple different reasons. Leeks, look at these beautiful vegetables. They're really good to eat for a couple different reasons. One, they can help your body to metabolize sugar, which is something we all need because otherwise sugar just simply turns into fat. They're also good at dealing with elevated blood pressure levels. So if you have high blood pressure, leeks and anything in the onion family are especially good for you. I'm sauteing this with a little bit of salt and pepper for just a couple minutes. All right, my leeks are cooking up nicely, and so I'm going to add to that 2 cups of peas. You can use fresh peas, or very, very easily, you can use frozen peas. You can see actually that I've used frozen peas and they're still just a little bit frozen, so I'm just gonna leave them in there an extra couple minutes to make sure they fully defrost and then they have a chance to cook. Now, why am I putting peas in my detox soup? Peas you sort of think of as being children's food, but they're really not. A cup of peas has less than 100 calories, so they're great for us adults as well, especially because they're also high in nutrients and protein. They're really great in anti-inflammatory, and they're also excellent antioxidants, which of course is good for disease prevention. I'm pouring in 6 cups of water. I'm going to let this come to a full boil and then let it cook for about 10 minutes. After that finished cooking, I let it cool for a little while, and now I'm pouring it into my blender. And I'm going to blend that up, and I'm going to add to it some fresh basil. Now, basil is really, really good for you for a lot of different reasons. It helps to prevent bacterial growth in your body, another good thing when you're doing a detox. And the oils in basil work like an anti-inflammatory. They work the exact same way that over-the-counter anti-inflammatory things that you may take work. So, a super potent anti-inflammatory agent in the basil also. I'm adding about a cup of it, and then I'm going to put the top on and blend it all up. Then simply put that in your bowl. This is a delicious and super nutritious soup that you can eat when you're doing a detox, when you're a little bit under the weather, or any other day. It's excellent hot, particularly if you need the healing qualities of it, but it's also a really nice chilled soup on a hot summer day. With the health benefits of the leeks, the peas, and then that spicy basil in there, this is a refreshed recipe. Enjoy.
Wow, that looks like a terrific recipe, winter or summer.
And you'll be happy to know that we have that recipe for you on our website. But coming up next, we're going to get some great advice from one of the world's leading neuroscientists that could change your life. Earlier today, we met James Doty, a world-famous neurosurgeon and brain expert.
Dr. Doty shared many insights with us, including his enthusiasm for developing a practice called mindfulness.
He told us about one very simple routine that he says can change your life.
You start by waking up, sitting still with your eyes closed, and thinking about those people in your life who've demonstrated love or concern for you.
And then you sit there and say, this feeling that I have right now, can I maintain that or consciously think of giving that to other people? And by simply doing that, it changes everything. That puts you in a mood where your heart is open and you care. People sense that you care, and then they want to be kind to you back. And that just is how it works. That is the way we are wired.
For me, what's so important about that advice is that James Doty knows as much as anyone on earth about the brain from a scientific standpoint.
Yes, and in addition to his neurosurgery practice, he's also the director of the Center for Compassion and Altruism Research at Stanford University. So James Doty is a very powerful blend of science and spirituality. When I visited his office in Mountain View, just south of San Francisco, I saw all of the impressive medical things you'd expect from someone of his stature, including this touching thank you from one of his patients. I also saw an autographed picture from Dr. Doty's friend, the Dalai Lama. And I was very moved by this painting of a surgeon about to go to work in the operating room.
My own profession, neurosurgery, is highly technical, uses a lot of technology and devices. But I would suggest to you that while they have had a huge impact on health outcomes, the most important thing, and equally if not more important, is the art of medicine, which is what? Which is care, kindness, compassion.
Care, kindness, and compassion. Dr. Doty is so right about the impact they have on keeping us healthy.
Research on this topic is abundant and shows repeatedly that when patients feel their doctor really cares about them, the health outcome is better and health costs are lower.
As I mentioned, Dr. Doty founded and is deeply involved in the research on compassion.
We'll have that for you later in this season, but right now, let's get ready to connect with the healing power of nature.
Maintaining our connection with nature has always been an important part of our approach to optimum wellness here at Healing Quest.
Dr. James Gordon, who we met earlier in today's show, has actually thought a lot about this.
Well, he's a pioneer in the field of mind-body medicine and has some strong views on the importance of staying connected with nature as a way of staying healthy.
We're deprived. We have a nature deficiency disease, the way we live in our modern societies. So that being in nature just revives people. It revives us it brings us back quite literally to our roots, to who we are. We are part of nature, and we forget it.
So to help us remember just how important nature is to our mind, body, and spirit, I'd like to invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy a healing moment.
Wow, what fantastic footage. I mean, those are some of the most beautiful images I have ever seen.
I agree. And if you'd like to know more about Louie's work, we have the link for you at our website.
Among other things, I think you're going to be interested in his moving art project to bring the inspiring power of nature to screens as big as the IMAX and as small as a smartphone.
Well, that's our Healing Quest for now, so thank you so much for joining us. And again, a big thanks to Jane Rivar and the folks here at River Highlands Sanctuary in the rolling hills near Grass Valley, California.
You know, this is a very magical place, and we're very grateful to be able to have it as our home base for this season of Healing Quest. If you'd like to learn more about River Highlands Sanctuary, we have the link for you at healingquest.tv.
So have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you next time, right here on Healing Quest.
Broadcast of this program made possible by
Prime, a daily dietary supplement designed to support cardiovascular health by boosting the production of nitric oxide. Prime from Kivana, formulated to support healthy circulation for every cell in the body. More information available at primeno.com.
Vital Choice Seafood, wild-caught seafood and whole food supplements rich in omega-3s. More information about our wild seafood and our sustainable practices is available at www.vitalchoice.com or at 800-608-4825.
The American Botanical Council provides science-based herbal information at herbalgram.org.
Be More, a monthly digital magazine designed to help you thrive. Every Be More issue is packed with information from nationally known health and wellness experts. Be More is available on request at bemoremagazine.com.
For more information about today's show, please visit our website at www.healingquest.tv. To order a DVD of this episode of Healing Quest, call 877-544-4827 or write to the address on your screen.
On the next edition of Healing Quest, we'll explore a new way to pinpoint and release trauma buried deep inside the brain.
And all of a sudden, everything changed in my life.
We'll sample a new kind of water that's attracting high-powered praise.
That's why I'm excited, because it's not just a matter of water, it's a matter of making it available in a way that is not only just useful, but healthier. And if you're healthier, you're happier.
We'll find out why expanding our compassion may be the single most important thing we can do.
It is one of the greatest gifts that we have as a human being.
And our healing moment takes us to a seaside sunset. That and more on the next edition of Healing Quest. So join us right here on this public television station.